Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/slash Tales from Your Server. In today's episode, Karens are starting to realize some of the dynamic have changed. Stood up to a regular and finally got a tip from them, a whole 8%. PSA, if you have to ask your server, are we keeping you here then? Annoying customer complains about getting less fluid than he paid for, even though he got more and ends up getting less. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karens are starting to realize some of the dynamic have changed. Last week, glorious night. Party of 6 comes in headed by a Karen. Wants 2-4 top high tops pushed together. Host says can't do it, social distancing, you'll be too close to the other table next to you now. Let me speak to the manager. She's calm, just insistent, and it's obvious she's played the card before. I roll up, how can I help? Can we push those 2 tables together? No, can't, social distancing, and now you're too close to the next table. You can have that table that's for 6 in the corner, you can have that booth for 6 after we clean it, or you can have that table for 6 outside after they get up about 10 minutes. All the while I'm pointing to each table like I'm showing them emergency exits on an airplane. You can't push those tables together. No, we will not be moving tables. You can have. And point out the tables again. You know what I think. Begins turning to her friend. You know what I think. Both of them together, we go somewhere else? At this point I clap my hands together and say thank you, and have a great night, and immediately turn around and walk away. The best part is Karen stares at the back of my head for a solid 2 seconds before she shuffled out. I didn't realize this until I watched the video of the exchange. Easily made number 3 in my career highlight reel, but only one of the handful of Karen moments since we reopened. Stood up to a regular and finally got a tip from them, a whole 8%. So there's this annoying couple who always comes in and tries to order a beer and a cocktail for one person to come out at the same time. Every time I tell them I am not allowed to do that, I have to serve one then the other. And they complain every single time about how stupid this rule is, and how other places will let them do it, and blah blah blah. It's literally like the same conversation every single time. They also have tipped 0 every time on a $40 to $80 tab. Today I had finally had it with them. They started grumbling and I said, "We do this every time. I tell you I can only serve one at a time, and you complain about it. I don't make the rules, I just have to follow them. Are you ready to order food as well?" I did say this in a very curt tone. Honestly, I don't think I've ever been that rude to a guest before. They ordered their food and I gave them very minimal service. I actually got a whole $5 tip this time, which came out to almost 8%. I made a whole $1.82 after tip out. PSA, if you have to ask your server, are we keeping you here then? You probably are. At many restaurants, servers are explicitly disallowed from asking their customers to hurry up. No matter what they answer, you should assume that their shift doesn't finish until you're gone. What you do with this knowledge is up to you. As an industry veteran, I'd certainly prefer if you would pay your tab and GTFO, but I also understand that waiting for my tables to finish up is part of my job. At the very least, if you're gonna be my last 2-top and I have to wait a half hour for you to sign the check, please don't leave me a garbage tip. Laughing face. Annoying customer complains about getting less fluid than he paid for, even though he got more and ends up getting less. So I don't work in the gastro industry anymore, but a friend of mine still does, and he perfected this one technique that I'm going to tell you about. For any US people, 1 DCL equals about 3.3 FL ounce. Anytime a customer, it's always the unpleasant ones that do this, complains about getting a smaller drink, for example 3 DCL. A fresh orange juice, and they think it's less because the glass doesn't look that full even though it's over 3 DCL. Or they get a different glass, because sometimes you run out of a certain type of glass, etc., Well, anytime they are rude and start complaining, my friend tells them to please wait and says he will fix their problem. While the customer waits in front of him, he proceeds to pull out a 1 DCL measuring glass, starts measuring out exactly 3 DCL and pouring them into another glass while looking directly at the customer. After he gets exactly 3 DCL, he pours the rest into the sink while still looking directly at the customer. There is always at least 0.5 DCL that goes into the sink. He then takes the new exactly measured glass and hands it to said customer and says something along the lines of, "Here you go, sir, it's exactly 3 DCL. Works like a charm, and they never complain again." If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.